Good morning. How are you? I know you're probably wondering, why is she standing in her kitchen? Maybe you're not, but I've been studying, and for many of you probably know, my Holistic Nutrition Diploma, and I've got a few more months left. I'm excited. But in the last few weeks, I've been studying nutrition and sports, exercise, fun stuff. So right now, as per the title, I am studying about metabolic rate, resting metabolic rate, and basal metabolic rate. And as I was having my breakfast this morning, I was thinking, you know what, I'd like to share some perspective of where I'm at with this as it relates to people that have expressed things that they're concerned with, or they really want to talk about body image. Because I probably have 4 different people that have asked for, some suggestions, different things as to what they could use with Young Living, what they could do for themselves, and there's so many options. I am going to start by saying, I know that the whole body image and weight loss thing is a big deal. Right now in industry, there is probably the two, in a health industry, weight loss and holistic health alternatives are like the 2 top money generating things. So that means people are looking for ways to help themselves. They're looking for solutions. So what I'm going to say is that I'm not a fan of diets. And you're probably thinking, oh yeah, well, whatever, you're not on a diet. Well, I'm about 5'3.5". I'm going to say that. And the size that I am now isn't what I always was. I had to make some considerable decisions of what I wanted to do with myself. So I had to make a choice because I wanted to make a change. I was 4 sizes bigger than I am now. So as you can tell, if I'm 5 foot, not much, 4 sizes bigger than what I am, guys, that's a big change for somebody of my stature. That said, it was my decision that I wanted to do something different, with the comment of, well, my dad. And if you're wondering why it's black and white, I clicked the filter, and everything else to put it back was like buzzing and buzzing. So here you are. And I noticed you can see a lot of wrinkles there too. But anyways, so that said, I didn't go on a diet. But what I am going to say is I made some still not really great choices, but some of the foods I ate were high in sugars and fats, but I didn't eat very many of them, and I did lose weight. And I was like, oh, so that's how that happens. So not going to lie, I basically starved myself. Sorry, 1 second here. I basically starved myself eating really not good choice foods. And then I saw the change in my body. I was like, oh, I want that to stay like that. So I'm not going to eat as much of the junk stuff as I used to make that change. But that said, on that whole starving piece, how many diets are out there that actually starve people? Or they make them count calories? The other part of this book that I am reading about is how they actually estimate calorie or caloric intake of different foods or any of that. You guys, it's an estimate. So for people that get exhausted counting calories and fats and all of that, sorry, my hair's just driving me bonkers a little bit here. That is where people get exhausted. So what I'm going to say to you is the other part is don't count calories. I know you'll probably be like, well, who are you to say so? But even in the book here, it states that counting calories is one of the most exhausting tasks for many people, whether they're athletes or people on a weight loss program, that they end up feeling defeated and they quit. The mere act of writing down your foods is a great idea. Do a food log. Get an app, put in what you had, approximate, and the sheer act of actually putting down what's eaten and how often will give you a good perspective of what you're eating. And then you can take inventory for yourself and choose, and be honest with yourself. You can choose what's a good choice to have and what's not. But the other thing, when I went back to thinking about when I lost the weight that I did, hello, beautiful. When I go back to thinking about how I lost the weight I did when I did, it wasn't good. It wasn't a good choice. It wasn't good foods. And I was basically starving myself. And so in this book here, when it talks about what actually happens in your body, when people actually are put on diets that actually kind of starve them out. And they're like, oh yeah, well, if I don't eat, it's going to eat up the fat and my body's going to be super happy. The body is an absolutely marvelous thing. Marvelous. Like I say, you have a marvelous mind and you have an absolutely amazing body. What it does for us and the shit and abuse we put it through, my goodness, it keeps coming back for more. So, but because the body, when you deprive it from food, and some of these diets do, that's why I don't like them. I don't want people dieting because there's one other piece I'm going to touch on right after this. It's really important and the first thing that needs to be addressed. It says that starvation forces the body to adapt, which we understand. One of the problems with very low calorie intake is starvation diets that people and some athletes actually use. It actually reduces their resting metabolic rate. So meaning when they're sitting there and their body's just kind of functioning, it makes that slower because your body's like, oh my God, where is the food? Where is the food? We're going to starve. Let's slow this truck down. It's saying, let's preserve the fat. Let's hold on to it because we might not survive. So when you think about that, starving yourself, there was going to be some drop in weight for sure. But as it says here, sorry, just bear with me because I have lots of highlights and notes. I just want to find out where it said it. Losing weight rapidly is a reduction of the resting metabolic rate, and that can dramatically reduce the energy intake. But the body, just hang on, is quickly to bounce back from that starvation mode, but it will substantially reduce, it won't substantially bounce back very fast. Reduction in the body fat may be the goal of an individual who adopts a starvation diet, but the physiological response to protect against fat loss because the body has no mechanism of understanding or determining if that starvation is short-term or long-term. So let's put that all in perspective, right? So if you're going to reduce what you want to eat, great, good place to start. The other part of that is that don't limit yourself so much that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to starve. This is ridiculous. Because your body, the way it is right now, I don't care what size you are. I don't care how much you weigh. It does not matter. All that matters is you decide when you're ready, if you're ready, and you might be perfectly happy with where you're at, and that is great. But don't starve yourself. If you choose to shed some extra, so be it. I hope you don't feel that you have too much. But what you have to do is do it slowly and be just mindful of what your consumption is. If your consumption is ice cream and chocolate and you know why you've got the extra protection, then you know that those are choices you have to make when you're ready. If you're ready, it doesn't matter. But don't starve yourself. For those that are ready to make a change, you need to eat foods that are going to serve. You're going to eat basic whole foods. Like, for example, when you do a food log and simply write down what you're eating. I did that when I was pregnant because I was worried about, how much weight I might gain. Because being 4 sizes bigger for myself at one point, that was pretty substantial for me, right? And when my pants didn't fit anymore around the leg, I was like, I'm not buying one more pair of pants bigger. That's just my choice. So I ended up, when I was pregnant, I didn't want to get to that point again. So I started writing everything down. And again, fruit has tons of sugar. I went hog wild with my oranges and fruit over Christmas. Well, in 1 month, I gained 6 pounds when I should be only gaining 1 pound a month at that point. So I was like, okay. So the sheer act of logging your food, not starving yourself, and just making small choices along the way is going to get you further ahead than going on some diet that starves you, that changes your resting metabolic rate and shifts you into a state where you're like, yeah, I went on a diet and I'm not losing anything. Or you went really good and then your body plateaued. I'd say that makes a whole lot more sense. So one thing you can do, and one other gal I was chatting with, is start by simple changes. So if you consume white sugar, maybe break up the relationship and see the change. Do it for 30 days. Take one or two things that you absolutely love, but you know you maybe shouldn't be consuming them at that same level, and either reduce them or limit them or exclude them for 30 days and see what happens. Just that. And you know what? Just write down the things you were happy about what you did. At the end of the day, we're like, take inventory of what successful things you had accomplished for the day as it related to your food and your diet choices. And then the other thing you could do is, once you've done that for a little while, the 5-day nutritive cleanse that Young Living has is another one that's really, you still get to eat, right? It's the Balance Complete, the Ningxia Red, fruits and veggies. You can supplement those in if too much of an intense cleanse. It's a good shift. It's a good change, right? But don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to do too many things. And then the one thing that I think is super important and I'm very passionate about is taking inventory of your actual self-image. Where does your mind spend the most time as it relates to about yourself? If I'm going to lean over now because I'm getting a little bit back cramped because I'm just holding this phone. I have to do these lives sometimes right in the midst. Otherwise, I procrastinate doing it and then I don't. If your self-image is one that you're constantly saying, I don't like how I look. I don't like the size I am. I don't like this about me. I wish this fit. I wish I looked like that. I wish. The way you see yourself is totally different than the way other people see you. And I guarantee you, dimes to donuts, if you had to ask somebody what they thought of you, they'd never say, I think you should drop a few. And if they're that kind of person, you don't need them in your life anyways. But you need to first see yourself as the amazing person that you are. Write 10 things down today that you love about yourself. I know it's hard, but, and you know, maybe for some people it isn't, but let me tell you, I had to do that and it took me a while to actually see myself in a light that I actually liked. If you're going to try and change your body physical image, you first need to start out with a positive personal self-image. How you see yourself when you look in the mirror. How you see yourself when you walk by the window and catch a glimpse of a reflection. And the first thing you think is, man, I love how I look today. And the other thing is not just how you look, it's what you love about yourself. So, right, Mandy? Yes, absolutely. If you go through 5 different diets and try to make all these changes, but you talk shit about yourself, it's not going to work. It's not. So, don't count calories. Don't diet. Write 10 things down that you like about yourself and put it on a piece of paper that you can put up on your mirror or carry with you and write it down every day. Do that for 30 days and limit 1 or 2 things out of your diet that you think you should or you know you should. Because you know what? We all can make better decisions. And yeah, and for me, I could probably not be such a food Nazi. I'm not bad. Sometimes I'm okay. But think about that. Don't count calories if you are on a diet. Granted, I'm not telling you to change what you're doing. But from the science and research that I am reading, I mean, you guys, this stuff is like, oh, heavens to Betsy. Let me just show you. It's black and white. But here's, some of the content that I was reading too. But you can't, I guess, even see it because it's backwards. But it's science and research studies in this book that talks about if you starve yourself, what happens to your body. Your body knows what's different. But your vibration, your self-love comes first. And I guarantee you will start to feel a shift and a change in yourself when you start to see yourself as amazing, capable, and the perfect size. How's that? So, anyways. All right. That was what I wanted to share with you as I'm having my coffee and getting some more of the studying done so I can write another test today and get this book done. Toot sweet. So, another final exam, and then I'll have one more after that. Woo! Anyways, have an amazing day, you guys. You are amazing.